Okay, let's bring in Olga Krasnyak, who is an associate professor from the Department of International Relations at the National Research University High School of Economics in Moscow. Welcome to you, Olga. I'm just going to repeat some of the responses that we've had from officials around the world. Germany's foreign ministry said that this election was a pseudo-election. The White House National Security Council spokesperson said it was not free and not fair. And Volodymyr Zelensky said there's no evil, that Putin will not commit to prolong his personal power. So very negative reactions, clearly. Just coming off the back of what our correspondent said there, are we looking now at 6 years of Cold War between Russia and the West?
Well, it could be this way, but I wouldn't expect any different reaction coming from the Western leaders. And it's good you started from Germany. And for instance, a former chancellor of Germany, Angela Merkel, she was 4 times a chancellor, and nobody asked and nobody questioned it. So your role in German government. So, and when it comes to Russia, we see totally different reaction, the opposite reaction. But yes, the Cold War, as you rightly say, it is something what we definitely have, and we definitely were expecting to have, because definitely Russia's foreign policy, it's not something what Russia is going to change. It's sustainable, I would say. And it's not something what Western countries would accept in a way what it is right now. And so this Cold War, maybe 2.0, is something which is underway.
According to Jens Stoltenberg, Vladimir Putin came to NATO in 2021 and asked for guarantees that NATO wasn't going to increase its membership. Obviously, it didn't get those guarantees. And a year later, Russia sends its forces into Ukraine. The direct consequence of that, though, has been that we've seen Finland and Sweden joining NATO. So in a sense, has that military move actually backfired for Putin and for Russia?
I would suggest maybe a bit different interpretation, because Sweden and Finland, it's not the same as Ukraine for Russia, because Ukraine, it's a very sacral part, considering its tradition and history and culture and everything. So it's Russia's backyard, and it's a totally different history or story when it comes to Sweden or even to Finland. So that is why we cannot compare those things, those countries and their attitude. And yes, for Russia, it's totally unacceptable enlargement need towards Ukraine or even to Georgia, because, well, many things are at stake. But the rhetoric, political rhetoric coming from Sweden and Finland and other European countries, the NATO countries, it makes no sense. It's just only to contain Russia, to deter Russia. But no, it's not the same with Ukraine.
I'd say that Vladimir Putin, he walked a very fine line with Western nations over the years, sometimes good, sometimes not so good. But the conflict in Ukraine, I would say that's changed everything now. There is so little trust in certainly in a lot of countries in Europe. Nobody's going to leave the NATO bloc. So does that mean now that Russia's kind of burned its bridges with the West and is going to have to go all in on its relations, its foreign relations, and indeed its economic deals towards the East now?
Well, it's a good question, but we need to ask ourselves, so what a country wants. And Russia definitely is interested to promote its national interests. And when antagonism with the Western countries are at the stake, something what we have, and something what contradicts Russia's interests. So why we need to look to look for to good relations with the Western countries? Maybe it's not our attitude, and our pivot to the East. Well, it's not just only because in the current circumstances in the sanction policy we have to do something. No, it's about to widen our own horizons. And we see the world is now different as it used to be even like 20 years ago, with this multipolar structure, with new emerging or maybe re-emerging powers of the global south. And in this case, so yes, our pivot to the East, it's not just only because of Western sanctions, but it's about within our foreign policy and within our idea of promoting our own national interests.
Olga, appreciate your time. Good to speak to you. Olga Krasnyak, my guest, Associate Professor at the National Research University High School of Economics in Moscow.